Good evening, everybody, and welcome to round number 15. We are nearing the halfway point of the overall season here for the Rowdy Energy Cup Series, and we come to you from the home of NASCAR tonight, Charlotte Motor Speedway in Charlotte, North Carolina, here for round number 15 of this season. Look, good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making this a part of your evening. And alongside me in the booth tonight is Byron Rodney. And Byron, we missed last week due to a car count. We will get you all the updated information that you need from the Circuit of the Americas last week. But Byron, tonight is going to be a lot of fun. This is the first mile-and-a-half track that these new next-gen cars are going to be seeing. And from what we're seeing, they are fast.
Yeah, flat out. We're in the motherland of NASCAR racing, Charlotte Motor Speedway, and with the Rowdy Energy guys, I'm telling you, man, it's going to be a good race. This new car on a mile-and-a-half track, they are flying around here. I'm seeing lap times sub 30 seconds, which means they're pretty much flat out on this thing. Tire strategy is going to come into play. Fuel strategy is going to come into play. It's going to be good.
Yep, absolutely. And these guys have 6 tire sets that they can use over the course of this 160-lap race, almost half distance from what we saw last night in the Coca-Cola 600. Right now, Elijah Innes and Dan Brazington are tied atop the timing pylon right now, both of them with 29.432 second lap times. Jeff Price, Bentley Glazer, and Scott Warren are rounding out the top 5 at the moment. Connor Trafari's been having connection issues for the last half hour or so. He has not set a time yet. Cedric Hunter, we know, is quick, and Javon Cherry, who we know is quick, have not set times. And that will bring us now back to Circuit of the Americas last week. 2 of the 3 drivers that have not set times yet had finished in the top 2 at Circuit of the Americas. Javon Cherry picking up the victory last week. That is his 3rd victory in 4 weeks for Javon. Connor Trafari, Greg McConey, J.D. Woodward, Scott Warren, Mark McFadden, Nick Kessler, and Jason Papp all running in the race, and that was the order that they finished in right there. And because of a network rule where you have to have at least 10 cars for the broadcast, we did not put the race on last week, but that certainly did not mean that these guys lost out. A viewer, a person who usually watches these races, was a little upset that he didn't get to see the race last week, and as a thank you for participating, gave every single driver who competed in last week's race $15 in iRacing credit. So goes to show sometimes it does pay to just participate.
Yeah, and you know what? You never know who's watching, and that's the whole thing. Welcome to the Esports Broadcasting Network. We do reach out and touch some people, and when you have a league like this that puts on one heck of a show, you want to keep that participation up, and tonight we've got some participation, let me tell you. I'm looking forward to a great show. What's your thoughts on this new next-gen car here at Charlotte from what you've seen in practice so far?
It looks like it's going to be a very, very quick car. It's got a lot of stability to the package, at least. Turns 2 and 4, which are usually the worst parts of this racetrack, don't look to be nearly as bad as they normally do. So this one could produce a lot of great racing here tonight, as we've got about a minute 35 seconds to go before we get into the qualifying session. Javon Cherry has put in a time of a 29.719. Still a lot of unknowns about this race car, but as these guys are starting to get used to the car, as they're running here every single week, you're going to start to learn more. These races are going to get a lot closer. These times are going to get a lot closer, and these races are going to get a lot more competitive.
Yeah, now I'm taking a look at the car right now. Let's talk about a car that's out on track right now. It looks like, from this camera angle, the number's 389. You look on the top, it's the number 12. When it comes back around again, it's going to have another number on the door on the other side. As we're getting a good look at it now, coming around the corner, look like the 1168. What do you know about that car tonight, piloted by Greg Marconi?
I know more than I probably thought I would have known about that car tonight. Now, that is being Memorial Day here tonight. Greg decided to put on a very special car tonight. The numbers that are on the sides of the cars are for two very special people in his life. On the driver's side door tonight, it is Fireman First Class Norman McConey, and on the passenger door is the number for Boiler Tender Petty Officer Second Class Rodney Bouchard. Both of them are his grandfathers, his father's side on the driver's side and his mother's side on the door. The two numbers, the 389 on the driver's side is the ship that Norman McConey served on during World War II, the USS Waxwing, and the number on the passenger side, 1160, is for the USS Traverse County, which is the ship that Rodney Bouchard, his grandfather on his mother's side, served on during World War II. Unfortunately, Norman McConey passed away about 8 years ago, but there's a very good chance that one Rodney Bouchard is watching tonight, and if you are, we thank you very much for your service, and we hope we could put a great show on for you tonight.
Yeah, there's going to be a great show, I guarantee you. This group puts on nothing but a great show. And speaking of great shows, got the cameras locked in on the 68 machine of Elijah Ennis, first car out on the track to take qualifying time.
Yep, and Elijah Ennis was the fastest car in the practice session here as he's about to knock out lap number one, about to start lap number one, I should say. Mark McFadden and Cedric Hunter, the other two drivers that are out on the track right now, in a very high line for Elijah Ennis in that first corner there. This is something you would see normally in the street stocks or in these big stock cars in super speedways. Run the outside line to pick up as much momentum as you possibly can, and unfortunately Ennis just ruined it by hitting the wall.
Yeah, if you get an incident point, you don't get that lap log, but he's got 2 laps to run. Let's see what he can do with this right now. As right now, I'm showing him top on the board at a 30.27, but they were turning faster laps than that in practice.
They absolutely were, and that's partly because of the outside line and partly because he ended up scraping the wall. Mark McFadden jumps to the top at a 29.96. Here comes Ennis out of corner number 4 now, as Cedric Hunter crosses the line for his first lap, and Ennis will go to the top at a 29.76. McFadden, though, coming through turns 3 and 4, looking good in that number 71 tonight.
Yeah, Cedric Hunter, he's on another flyer right now. Greg Marconi's got his car in the win, out on the track, looking for some qualifying speed. As Cedric Hunter's getting ready to cross the line for the second time to log his fastest lap. Crosses the start-finish line. Cedric Hunter move him to the second spot with a 2.981.
Yeah, Mark McFadden was able to better his time, but not his position. Went from a 9.6 to an 8.5. They're moving him into third position. Greg McConey now crossing the line to start his first lap. Javon Cherry, Jeff Price, and Dan Brazington on track right now with him as well. McFadden taking that outside line, trying to build up that momentum, get that car going as fast as you possibly can before starting your lap.
Yep, they want to carry as much momentum as they can, but they need to keep the wall, keep the side of the car off of that outside wall. That will help to scrub some speed. Also scrub some paint off of the, outside of the car. Scrub some, I just got a good look at the backside of Marconi's car. These diffusers on this car, man, I think I'm looking at a GT3 race. I love the look of this next-gen car.
Absolutely. McConey 6th, Brazington and Price cross ahead of him. Brazington 4th, Price 5th. Both of those guys completing their first laps. Javon Cherry not that far away from completing his first lap, but here comes McConey, about to finish his second, and should be a decent time for McConey. Puts him second at a 29.77. Price just crossed the line. He goes up into 5th. Dan Brazington crossing the line as well. He jumps up to 3rd at a 29.78. Yeah. So a 29.76, 7.7, and 7.8 for the top 3.
Got to look at Jovan Cherry right now in the number 20 machine. on his second lap, bringing it around turn 3, turn 4, hustling it off to the dog leg, looking for that start-finish line, see if he can improve on that first lap time at 30.07. Crosses the line, Jovan Cherry all the way to the top of the board with a 29.75.
The top four separated by 0.04 of a second. Jason Papp just crosses the line for the first time at a 29.92. That is the fastest first lap that we have seen out of anyone's. Sean Dura
I'm just looking at
crosses
the
the
paint
line.
job on Jason Papp. He's sporting the Lucky Charms, don't you know? He didn't know Sam wasn't here tonight. He brought those Lucky Charms for Sam.
And he's trying to run it right back up into the top 10 here. Currently sitting in 10th. At the moment, he will cross the line in 6th. Here comes Sean Dura out of turn number 4 through the kink. Scott Warren jumps up into the 5th spot. Dura does not improve on his time, and right now, that will end qualifying. So with that, we will go to the grid here for tonight's race, and on the pole will be Jovan Cherry with a 29.75 your pole time. Elijah Innes will flank him to the outside in row number 1. Row 2 will go to Nick Kessler and Greg McConey. Scott Warren and Dan Brazington will sit in row 3, with row 4 going to Cedric Hunter and Jason Papp.
Vaishon Dewara, he's going to start on the inside of row 5 with Mark McFadden to his outside elbow, followed by Jeff Price and Bentley Glazer in the next row. And if I can hit this button just right, come on, go next. Oops, next page. There we are. Connor Trafari, Brandon Wilson, they're going to be sitting in row 7. And you know what? If I hit the right button again, I can move that on up to Ryan Worley and John LeBombard starting in 16 shotgun.
And I believe, going back to it, that's Glazer, Trafari, Wilson, Worley, and LeBombard, who did not set times in qualifying. I mean, 5/1000ths of a second separating 1 and 2 here tonight. This is going to be an incredible night of racing that we have in store here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, and look at the way they line them up here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. They don't sit out on the grid and wait for the car to start rolling. We're lined up, parked, waiting for the pace car, driven by our famous European driver, Pache KR. He'll be leading the field around for the parade.
Absolutely. So it'll be Jovan Cherry and Elijah Innes as we wait on Nick Kessler and Trafari to jump onto the grid here. And Byron, this is going to be an incredibly fun night of racing, not just because of the new car and the unknowns that come with the new car, but also just the fact that it's Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's the home of NASCAR. This is where you want to be, and if you want to get a win that means something, if you miss out on the Daytona 500, Charlotte Motor Speedway is the next best place to get it.
Yes, it is. And I almost on a whim, I almost drove down because there was tickets still available for the 600 last night, and I darn near went down there for it, but I didn't. But I don't need to, because you know what? I got a good feeling 160 laps of these guys tonight are going to be all the excitement I need. It's going to be a great race.
Yep, it absolutely is. Connor Trafari will start from the pit lane here tonight, and from what I'm seeing, Nick Kessler is no longer a part of the session, at least for the moment. It's showing that he's here, it's just he is not gridded up yet. So now Nick Kessler has jumped into pit lane, so Kessler and Connor Trafari will both start from the lane here tonight to round out the 16-car field that will run round number 15 for the iRacing East Rowdy Energy Cup Series here this season. Jovan Cherry starting on the pole, looking for his fourth win in 5 weeks, his 5th win on the season. Elijah Innes looking for his first. Starting on the outside of the front row, 160 laps from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We are green.
Green flag out in the air. Jovan Cherry on the loud pedal. He hits the gas, says, see you boys, I'm out of here. Catch me if you can. But don't look now. He has got a rear bumper full of Elijah Ennis as he gets a bit of a two-car breakaway right away from the start of the green flag.
Absolutely, and holding this inside line, at least for right now, is going to be the big thing that you're going to be watching for. One of the guys who's already moved up quite a bit is Cedric Hunter. Look at the one of Jason Papp sliding up in the middle of the field, getting between Ryan Worley, and that's him and Dan Brazington making a little contact coming out of turn 4, and I believe he might have popped his teammate Worley as well.
Yeah, a little bit of door banging going on, but, these guys have got the talent. They can touch doors and keep it pointed straight, but, look for them to be one to run. We get one running off and down. Who was that?
It's John LeBombard, the 95, down there on the inside, and LeBombard slow and in the back.
Headed for the pits already.
He gets passed by Nick Kessler, who again had the pit start. Boy, these guys are really close up here at the front. Elijah Ennis just peeking out about a half a lane to the outside on Jovan Cherry as they're about to catch up to Connor Trafari, who again started from the pit lane.
Yeah, Connor Trafari, he's got his work cut out for him tonight. He's going to have to be looking for a caution so he can get that lap back, either via the lucky dog or a wave around or something. But don't look now. There's a mad, angry bunch of hornets right on his rear bumper as Jovan Cherry is leading them around as we are already working lap 4 of 160. I look for this to go by pretty darn fast. I did not get a chance, Frank, to talk to the drivers pre-race to see how many laps we can get on a tank of Go Fast, but I'm sure they're probably going to be screaming for tires before they're screaming for fuel.
I would assume most of these races go about one pit stop. I would have to assume that this one being a little bit longer, as you would expect a Coke 600s to be, it could be a two-stopper here tonight. So we've got two packs here forming up at the front, and now this pack is the second pack that I thought was the second pack is now joined back up to the front. That right there is the top 6 cars, led by Jovan Cherry and tailed by Cedric Hunter in that Dynaco number 13.
Yeah, you got to go all the way back to Bentley Glazier and Brandon Wilson for that second pack. And these other guys, they're just kind of marking their laps, keep in touch with the leaders, so to say. But, they don't want to fall too far off because you get a pack led by Jovan Cherry and a bunch of guys running angry behind him. Jovan's going to try and run away from it as fast, as quick as he can.
Absolutely, is Cherry now trying to hold that inside line now in the middle here in 3 and 4. Not necessarily where he wants to be, because look at how much Elijah Ennis was able to close down on him as Scott Warren and Greg McConey battle for the 3rd position behind him. Cedric Hunter has jumped up into the 5th position. Right now, biggest mover of the race at the moment is Brandon Wilson in the 501, and that second group, honestly, not that far away from this first group. They could catch in the next couple laps if they really put the hammer down. Yeah,
they're just keeping in touch with everyone. Don't want to fall too far back, like I said, but so far, whoa! Who was that we just saw heading, hopping through the center? Looked like McConey.
That was McConey. Yep, it was Greg McConey who had hit the wall coming out of turn 4. So McConey now has fallen out of that first group and he's kind of in no man's land in the middle between the two. And with the meaning of that car that he's running tonight, I'm not sure he might be a little bit upset right now in that number 12.
Yeah, he's getting overhauled pretty quick here. Bentley Glazier right on his tail. Bentley makes a move to the inside to go around him, and he is going to fall into a 4-pack of cars right behind him. He is definitely going to be looking for pit lane pretty soon to try to get some repairs and get his gather his composure back up. But going back to the front, Jovan Cherry is just not being able to drive away from the rest of the packs. Matter of fact, Elijah Ennis has fallen back to 3rd. Scott Warren's moved his way up to 2nd place.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott Warren now and Jovan are both moving towards breaking away from this pack here. 0.3 of a second between the two. Elijah Ennis and Jashawn Dura, 2 teammates for Golden State Racing, in that second, battling for the 3rd and 4th position. Cedric Hunter kind of pinched behind them. Jeff Price, who's also made up 5 positions in that number 14 has definitely had a very good run here tonight so far. He's looking to try to move up as well.
Yeah, Jeff Price sporting beautiful BCP colors on that car. That car is really standing out with that red and black scheme that I'm seeing on that thing. Another car is really standing out. Take a look at Cedric Hunter, boy. That thing really stands out in the colors.
Yep, that's that car's homage. The Dynaco number 43 in the movie is the Dynaco number 13 on the track tonight. And for Jeff Price, we're used to seeing that car in blue and yellow. I like it a lot better in the black and red.
Yeah, I'm loving the paint job that they put on it. That's another thing, I'd like to talk about. You see the paint jobs that these guys put on these cars, they get really creative. That's just not something that's, they go and download stock from somewhere. These guys sit and put the time and effort into painting a car and making it look good, because they're not only putting on a good show with their driving skills, they're putting on a great show with their creativity.
And especially with these next-gen cars being as new as they are, it's something that they kind of have to do, is get creative with these cars until they get a little bit older. Is now Scott Warren starting to peek under the number 20 of Javon Cherry. Cherry able to clear him coming off of turn 2, but Scott Warren certainly looking hungry to try to take that position away from Javon Cherry, who has led all 13 laps of this event here tonight.
Yeah, now this is about the time that the tires are starting to wear in, and this is about the time that if you had it, you wanted to get it as quick as you could, because you're going to start seeing the cars not wanting to handle as well as they did at the drop of the green flag once you start scrubbing the goodie off of these tires. And now they're starting to settle in, but the guys are still throwing haymakers and moves out there. Take a look at the number 10 and the number 68, just going back and forth. Zayshawn Duera and Elijah Ennis.
Yep, Zayshawn Dura definitely. We saw him try to make a move under Scott Warren going into turn 1. Didn't work. Pushed up the racetrack. That compromised Cedric Hunter to the point where he's fallen all the way back into the 6th position behind Jeff Price in the number 14, who is now the biggest mover of the race here tonight, up 6 positions from where he started in the 11th spot. And now Price is going after Ennis. Price and these guys here at the back of this group are going to start picking off guys, starting to move forward a little bit based on how much and how hard they ran those tires at the beginning of this run.
Yeah, and I'm also, look at this, Frank, if you check out the number 14 of Jeff Price and the 68 of Elijah Ennis, they are back and forth throwing haymakers side by side. Now Cedric Hunter's getting into the mix. They're not giving an inch. They're in this thing 16 laps deep, opening stages of a 160 lap race, and they're racing like we're got 20 to go.
Yeah, we're, again, just as you said, we're 16 laps down of 160, and I can already tell you that a green-white checkered is going to be absolutely mental here tonight, because these guys in 16 laps have already run a second off. Javon Cherry's best lap, a 29.38 at the start of this race, just ran a 30.40 right now. Best lap of the race goes to Zayshawn Dura. Goes to Jeff Price at a 29.21. He just ran a 30.49 that last time by before this one. So these tires already dropping off. Just ran a 30.58 that lap.
Yeah, and when the tires are falling off, you're going to see these guys stop running that bottom line. You're going to see cars moving up in the groove, looking for grip, looking for the fast way around the track, and they are just all over the place. Man, Javon Cherry is doing his best to keep Scott Warren at bay, but don't look now. Cedric Hunter's made it all the way up to 3rd place and looking for more.
Doing that Indy snake at Charlotte down the back straightaway, because these cars are so, it's appearing as though these cars are so aero dependent. You can get a lot of draft off of these cars here. It's part of the reason why these guys have not run it in the Friday night series. The draft is so powerful in these cars, maybe unrealistically so, as Cedric Hunter, you're right, has jumped up to the 3rd position. Price up 7 spots into 4th.
Yeah, and now is where you're going to see guys that saved a little bit with the tires early on, weren't rooting and gouging so hard, are starting to overtake the guys that didn't. But Javon Cherry, from the drop of the flag, he has let it. He is not coming out of it. And he is actually trying to break that draft that you were talking about with that Indy Snake. And it's so funny to see the Indy Snake going on in Charlotte.
Yep, absolutely. And speaking of Indy, congratulations to Helio Castroneves. My goodness. Big hard into the wall. I believe that was Zishan Dura. It was in the 10.
Yeah, Zishan Dura into the wall. Now he's got Elijah Ennis and Bentley and
Trafari
right on the back of him.
Again, Connor Trafari not racing for position. He is a lap down. Up at the front, though, Cedric Hunter and Scott Warren banging off each other. That's Warren into the wall backwards in turn number 3. Bentley Glazer is collected in it. Caution is out. That's the first caution of the night. And boy, that was just a case there of Cedric Hunter getting to the bottom line quicker than Scott Warren did.
Scott Warren, that was a big hit on Scott Warren. Go back and take another look at that. Just up into that outside wall, backs it in. Oh, gets tagged.
Yeah, by Glazer.
They started just had nowhere to go.
They started beating and banging about midway down the back straightaway. Almost looked as though Warren came down into the 13, then the 13 kind of came back up, and the 76 came down. That's a big hit for both of those cars, as we're about to see our first cycle of pit stops here, and these guys are going to learn a lot from these pit stops about how hard they need to run next time around.
Yeah, they're going to get a good reading on the tire wear that they've had for a 20-lap run. Wholesale pit stops happening. Jovan Cherry leading them down pit lane. See who wins the race off.
Only 2 drivers that did not pit here were the 48 and the 95, both of those cars being laps down. Service being completed on these cars. First one down and away is Cedric Hunter. Cherry's going to win the race off of pit road. It'll be Cherry, Hunter, Price, the top 3 coming off of pit lane after the first round of stops tonight.
Yeah, man, what a heartbreak for Warren there, getting up at that outside wall, just racing real hard. Looked like he just broke loose and slapped it.
Yep, and no fast repairs. One fast repair here tonight. So both Warren and Glazer not necessarily done this evening. So both of those guys will have another look at it. And for Warren, great, because he does have a very fast car here tonight in that number 76. And we know how good Bentley Glazer is now, battling in the top 5 and 5th after that round of stops.
Right.
So Jovan Cherry, Cedric Hunter, Jeff Price, Elijah Ennis, Bentley Glazer, the drivers who are in the top 5. Mark McFadden coming back into pit road. Same as Connor Trafari. He is coming back in. Jason Papp has come in and is now leaving. John LeBombard in pit road for the second time and first under this run of pit stops.
As John LeBombard, he's not on the lead lap with everyone.
It's the only car that is not on the lead lap. As a matter of fact, I'll take that back. Jason Papp no longer on the lead lap as well in that number 1 Lucky Charms Chevrolet. And Papp being the only driver 1 lap down, he's trying to repair damage the hard way here.
Electing to
trying
not
to pit
use
farm that number 1.
Yeah, electing to hold that fast repair in reserve for later in the race. I got a feeling he thinks he's going to need it.
There's going to come a point to where you're going to have to take it at some point, because you can only catch up so far before you come back into pit road. So every single time you come into pit road, you're fixing a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less. So for Papp, I think he might have just popped that fast repair now.
Now, everyone, when you hear us talk about the term fast repair, iRacing gives you an option. When you set up a race, you can add fast repairs. And what a fast repair is snap your fingers. All the damage that's on your car is now fixed. 100% wrinkle-free, wash ready to go. Put it on and run. But once you use it, this league gave you one. Once you use it, it's done. You can't use it anymore. So those guys that use that fast repair, they don't have it in their hip pocket. What you want to do is you want to save that, preferably for the money stop at the end of the race. But we got a long way to go. We're only on lap 25 of 160.
And this series usually does not use the fast repair, but because the car is so new and everyone's still trying to figure out the car, they've granted the one fast repair for these races. Now, the Friday Night Super Speedway Series, they do not use fast repairs. And once these cars get run in a little bit more and they start to figure out the car a little bit better, and after iRacing makes the necessary tweaks to the car, then they will take that fast repair away again.
Yeah, lights are off on the pace car being driven by Pache KR. I'm not going to give you the story of where that term came from.
It's a long enough story, and there's not enough time left in the pace lap in order to give that one. So it'll be Javon Cherry on the inside, Cedric Hunter on the outside. Jeff Price and Elijah Innes make up row number 2. Row 3 goes to Bentley Glazer and Ryan Worley on the outside. Starting lap number 26, we are back to green flag racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yep, Barney the flag man waves the green flag in the air. Everyone mashes that loud pedal. Jovan Cherry gets a bit of the break. Jeff Price down on the inside, but don't look now. Cedric Hunter digging hard on the outside with Elijah Innes right behind him.
Hunter trying to come back at the 14 of Jeff Price. Price did not get a good run off of turn number 2. Look at the outside. That's the 13 of Hunter, sliding and collecting everybody behind him. There's one here at Charlotte. It's going to collect everybody behind them. And that will be caution number 2 as Cedric Hunter just got loose coming through turns 3 and 4. And it looked good right up until the point where it didn't.
Taking another look at it, you can see, just everyone getting loose. It was really tight racing, 4 wide coming around the dog leg, and we have a big one here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Boy, Elijah Innes tried to fit that car into that gap on the outside, and you can't really blame him, honestly, because, I mean, the gap was there. That was really Ryan Worley who set that off.
Take a look at Elijah Innes' car right now.
Yep.
Hood gone. Big scrapes down the driver's side. Now, if he's got a fast repair, you're going to see what a fast repair can do, as I've got it focused on him coming into the pits right now.
Greg McConey completely destroyed.
Right.
Jason Papp completely destroyed. He had to tow, but fortunately for him, he did not use that fast repair. Certainly could have used it. The 4 of Nick Kessler completely destroyed.
Well, you just saw what a fast repair could do for Greg Marconi as he just used it.
Got Warren destroyed again.
He uses his fast repair. So that fast repair, Frank, you saved a lot of the driver's night tonight.
Yep, absolutely. And all from one mistake with the 13. And the list of drivers who were not involved in that is quite a number shorter than the drivers who were. Javon Cherry, clearly, Jeff Price, Bentley Glazers, and that's pretty much it. So just the top 3 cars were fortunate enough to escape our biggest wreck of the evening so far.
Yeah, biggest wreck of the evening, biggest wreck I've seen in this league since we've been broadcasting them this whole season. Yeah. And we're on what, round 16?
Around 15 as Cedric Hunter will come into pit road now. Dan Brazington as well to do some damage repair.
Yeah, Cedric Hunter, he's got a nice fat scrape down that right side.
John LeBombard in the back. John LeBombard in the background also coming in into pit lane.
Jason Pat still pit farming that thing.
Oh, he had to tow.
Well, it looks like he may have used his fast repair. That car is awful straight.
Clearly did, yeah.
Cedric Hunter electing not to use a fast repair if he had one.
He did have one. I'm not surprised. He didn't get that too bad. I think Dan Brazington might have used his fast repair in the 29.
Let's see if we can see what the 29 looks like right about now. Yeah, his car is awful straight, so I'd say he used it. That fast repair, that was a good decision by the league in my eyes to go ahead and give it a fast repair while they get the next-gen car sorted out. That saved a lot of these drivers' races. I'm wondering if you're going to see that aggression level dialed up that high for this restart.
I mean, it wasn't necessarily aggressive driving. It was just Hunter got loose, and on that outside, cold tires, and on new tires, you feel like Superman. So, yeah, I wouldn't... I would expect that that the racing got a little close and hairy there. Thank you very much to Chris Land in the YouTube chat there. JD Davis on his way back from the Coke 600, which is why he is not participating in the race tonight. Otherwise, the pilot of number 17 would be here, and we thank the lot of you who are here enjoying tonight's Coke. Well, I guess, yeah, why not? The Coke 600 for the iRacing East Rowdy Energy Cup Series season. Round number 15, as we will get these guys re-racked here for you. It'll be Javon Cherry and Jeff Price in the front row. Zishan Dura and Bentley Glazer in the second row, and of those drivers, pretty much everybody else behind them has used their fast repair tonight. As a matter of fact, including Bentley Glazer has used his as well. And Byron, why don't you take us to green here?
All right. Pache KR's got the field in tow. We'll tell you the story about Pache KR a little later on, folks. Lights are off on the pace car. Look for him to take that hard left turn into pit lane, and the green flag is going to be in the air from Barney the Flagman, and you're going to hear the throttles get mashed. That's the skinny tall pedal to the left-hand side. We call it the loud pedal because it makes all the noise. Pace car is off, waiting on the green flag. Waiting, just holding it down. Green flag is in the air. Throttles are mashed. Jovan Cherry on the brake, but Jeff Price right to his outside. And don't look now, man, but Zishan Dura is not letting go.
Oh, Zishan Dura got a very good restart there on that outside line. Bentley Glazer able to push his way through into the second position after Price really got high. Coming out of turn number 2, Cherry weaving down the back straightaway to try to keep his competitors at bay, and he knows how good Bentley Glazer is in that number 16, trying to keep him behind him at every possible opportunity. Connor Trafari in that number 48, now racing for position, is up into third. We'll now see the true pace of the number 48.
Yeah, now to tell you the honest truth, these guys are out there gouging for all they can on fresh tires because they know fresh tires, you can drive like Superman here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, especially the way this next-gen car is handling. As Zishan Dwyer looks like he's having a bit of an issue, got shuffled back from 4th on that restart, all the way back to the 7th position. But like you said, don't look now, Connor Trafari in the 48 on the charge.
Boy, Nick Kessler, I believe that was Nick Kessler, Elijah Innes, and Dan Brazington at a very close moment at the back end of this front pack. And you're right, that is the 48 of Connor Trafari, really starting to make a move there in that second position. Also for the first time up here tonight, Brandon Wilson in the 501. He has moved himself up into a battle for the third position, currently has the third position at the moment, not clear of Bentley Glazer going into turn number 1. As Mark McFadden comes out of pit road on the inside.
Ooh, guys getting sideways in the back of the pack.
That was Dura in the 10 that got sideways there, so he will fall to the back of this lead pack. Still some side-by-side racing here. Greg McConey starting to work his way back up. He's got Jeff Price, his teammate, Ryan Worley in the 00 to his inside.
Yeah, and they are racing side by side, going around Charlotte Motor Speedway. I don't know with this next-gen car. Normally, I'd say I'd be wanting that high line to save tires, but with this next-gen car, Frank, I don't know if that's the place you really want to be.
We're seeing Javon Cherry able to hold that inside line. Guys not really able to make a move as now Brandon Wilson jumps up into the second position. So Cherry, Wilson, and Trafari, your top three here. Jeff Price and Ryan Worley rounding out the top five. And behind them, they are three wide. Greg McConey, Bentley Glazer, Elijah Innes had to back out of it. Nick Kessler in the 4. Starting to stick his nose in there. He's going to fall in behind the 16. Innes is going to try to take the position away from the 4.
Yeah, discretion's starting to become the better part of valor right here because they do remember what happened that brought out that last caution. I don't think they want to bring out another caution like that, but the 14 of Jeff Price looks like he's got a parachute behind that car as he just lost 2 positions as they went around the corner.
Yeah, Price might be backing out of this and seeing that it's starting to get a little bit dangerous up there. Price has fallen from 4th to 7th. Here is Brandon Wilson trying to put the fight to Javon Cherry in the number 20. Connor Trafari, Ryan Worley there as well. Greg McConey now under his teammate in the 00. As we complete lap number 37 of 160 here at Charlotte. A little bit of a touch of the apron there for the 12 of McConey. Kills the inside line's momentum.
Yeah, we've seen it before on these 1.5 mile tracks. Apron, bad.
Worley, that's Worley in the wall. Also saw Bentley Glazer get into the wall as well, going down the back straightaway. And that is going to force Ryan Worley to the back of this front group.
Yeah, Worley got to rub the paint off of there. We saw the sparks fly. I don't think there's any damage on the outside of the 00, but he's now got a matching set of scrapes. One on the inside and one on the outside.
Cherry trying to break that draft up at the front. Brandon Wilson and Connor Trafari not biting, going down there to the inside line, down the back straightaway.
And where the heck did Brandon Wilson come from?
Wilson was the big hit in that last wreck, and Wilson being the beneficiary of the fast repair, and 2, getting out of pit road first of all the guys that did use the fast repair, starting to work his way up to the front now. Yeah, number 501.
Yes, he is. Javon Cherry out in the wind in the lead. 501 of Brandon Wilson second. And here we go again.
The 4 of Kessler hard into the wall coming out of turn 4. Then hits the wall into the dog leg. There was Dan Brazington involved in that as well, and that will be caution number 3.
Yeah, it looked like Kessler just dove it into the corner way to take another look at it. He just brought it into the corner with too much momentum, couldn't hold it down, slapped that outside wall, and it was on from there. The 29 of Dan Brazington had nowhere to go.
Did not, and just missed getting hit by the 00 of Ryan Worley. Bentley Glazer had to take to the infield grass to evade. And everybody else getting away free.
Now here we go. We talked about tire limits tonight. You saw the guys came in 10 laps ago? So how many are they going to be coming in for tires again? What's your strategy at this point?
All of these guys came into pit in the 20s, whether it be 22, 23, other guys coming in to repair damage on lap 27. Should still have 4 sets of tires remaining here. And Cherry does not come in. Everybody else, though, behind him decides to take to pit road, except for Bentley Glazer. So this will now put the 16 up into a position to where he can battle. This might hurt these guys in the short run, but if we do get that green-white checkered, they could have a set of tires saved up where these guys all in pit road right now won't.
Yeah, and if you're John LeBombard, you're getting a lucky dog. But if you're Mark McFadden, Jason Papp, or Scott Warren, you were looking for a waiver round, and the leader stays out there, you're not happy with that decision.
Elijah Innes and Connor Trafari. It looks like Innes took fuel only. Trafari took at least 2. Kessler would have fixed damage. Everybody else, though, taking 4 tires and taking time to repair damage.
2 tires,
So Sean
don't think would be a very good strategy. What do you think?
That depends. It depends on how much farther we go on a green flag run. So right now, Cherry and Glazer are the only 2 that have come down pit road once, both of them coming in on lap 22. Everybody else has come in at least 2 or 3 times. I think Glazer might be taking it to pit road this time. He is. He's pitting with the lap cars.
Glazer, so he's going to be restarting at the back of the pack. That leaves Jovan Cherry still out there on old tires. Now, we did see tire fall off after 20 laps of about a second a lap. So these guys are going to be overhauling Jovan Cherry. You got to think, Frank, he's in the sitting duck position right now.
Yeah, it is a very unfortunate spot that Cherry finds himself in, but again, it could turn out in his benefit later on. I mean, if he gets a caution here quick and is able to pick up a pair of tires, this might not be too bad for him. As it's like Bentley Glazer. It's like Glazer might have taken 2 tires, only 8.1 seconds stationary in pit road. So the 16 might have taken 2. The 13 of Cedric Hunter has stopped in turn 2. What on earth has happened to Cedric Hunter?
Well, let's go back and take a look.
Coming through turn 4, he runs through the tri-oval grass.
He might have had a connection issue or a steering wheel problem, but he just stopped.
That, you're right. That's either a hardware issue for him, or that's him trying to get in line. That's an odd way. He just turned right and stopped.
Well, the lights are out on the pace car. Jovan Cherry electing me to restart on the inside. He's going to have Elijah Innes to his outside. Connor Trafari right behind him. And Brandon Wilson right next to Trafari on the outside. Now, mind you, they're all on fresh rubber, and Jovan Cherry elected to stay out. So Jovan Cherry's got 20 laps on his fuel, 20 laps on his tires over the rest of these guys, but he's got tires in reserve in the pits. So now he's going to be off sequence if we do not see another caution.
That could certainly wreak havoc, as the 13 of Cedric Hunter still having issues in the back there. As we get set to go back to green flag racing here, Jovan Cherry, Elijah Innes, the 2 who started on the front row at the outset of this race, will do the same again here. Connor Trafari and Brandon Wilson will make up row 2. That's Ryan Worley blinking on the inside of row 4. As we get set to go back to green flag action here once again, as Cherry will lead them down, gets into the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air, working lap 46 of 160 here at Charlotte.
Yeah, Jovan Cherry still holding that point, but don't look now. Connor Trafari all over his tail, and all over the tail of Connor Trafari in a side-by-side battle, Jeff Price and Elijah Innes.
Absolutely, that's Elijah Innes on that outside line, impeding the progress very much so of Brandon Wilson in that 501. We saw how good Wilson was on that last run. as Price in that number 14 looking for the third position, currently has the third position on Elijah Innes, who got an awful start in that number 68.
Oh, Greg Marconi just... Yeah, I know I'm pronouncing it all wrong. I always call him Marconi. You know, he gets on me about it, but I'm going to keep up with it just to irritate him. Got it a little bit wrong, had to back out of it, dive to the inside, slots back in at the ninth spot. Lost a couple of positions on that.
So it's Elijah Innes and Brandon Wilson still stuck on the outside line in the 68 and the 501. That is the 4 of Nick Kessler working his way up to the outside. In between those two, Ryan Worley just cannot seem to get around and get clear of the 68 of Elijah Innes. And now Innes finds himself in the wall, stacking cars up coming out of turn 4. And that will bring out caution number 4 on the evening, just as we hit lap 49.
Don't know what happened with Innes there.
Innes went up and hit the wall. Oh, we're staying green, pardon me. I thought for sure the caution was coming out there, but it appears as though everybody kept it straight.
Yeah, Innes
so
just
stay
got
green.
It loose. He just got it really loose and couldn't keep it out of the wall. Oh, that was a tough one for Innes.
Yeah, that was a very big hit.
As he brings it in pit side now.
Yeah, as I would imagine, him and Worley had been battling for a little bit. Now that Worley's gotten away from him, Worley's jumped up into the third position around the number 14 of Jeff Price. And Price has really found himself stuck really in that fourth position. He's been hovering between third, fourth, fifth all night long in that number 14. Just cannot seem to make it too far upwards.
No, as we got the top 4 on a 4-car breakaway. You got to go a couple of seconds back on the track to find the next one in that line, which is 5th place, the Greg Marconi. So 4-car breakaway, and I do believe Elijah Innes has put it on the hauler and called it a night.
Let me take a look. I believe, no, he's still in the session, at least for the moment, is Innes. So right now it is Cherry, Worley, Trafari, and Price. The top 4. Beyond that is the second big pack. That's led by Craig McConey, Javon Cherry. As they come out of turn 4, Ryan Worley has the race lead. Coming across the line, that is the first lap led by a driver not named Javon Cherry here tonight.
Now, Ryan Worley probably just learned a little something right there. He's been back and forth. He held that outside line. Javon Cherry gets the lead through the corners. Watch Javon Cherry dives it down in. Worley holds it on the outside, but Worley knows it's the first car that crosses that start-finish line. And he sees that outside line working for him, or could it just be that the tires, 20-lap difference on Javon Cherry and Worley's tires, could be the big difference in the way they're going. But dang, you got to give it to Javon Cherry. He's hanging tough.
You know, Worley did come into pit on lap 42 under that last caution, took 4 tires. Javon Cherry's only been in once, and that was on lap 22, having taken 4 tires as well. So Jeff Price now working his way to the outside of the 20, and it looks as though now that the heat has gotten into the new tires, it appears as though, at least visually, that the tire wear has caught up. But if you look at the lap times that are running recently, Cherry's only about a 1/10 of a second off of the top 3.
Yeah, and he's starting to fall back a little bit more. The top 3 are getting around him. Javon Cherry falls back to the 4th position. But I'm looking back at the 5th position of Marconi. He is right all over the rear bumper of, take a look at that, the 71 of Mark McFadden, who looks like he's trying to track down that lead 4 and get his lap back to Hardway.
Mark McFadden currently running 2 laps down in the 13th position right now is the driver of the number 71. And McConey now looks to the inside of mark, as it will be McConey, Wilson, and Hunter, the top 3 drivers in this group. And Trafari and Cherry had battled so much that those two have now fallen back to the second group. That's left Ryan Worley and Jeff Price to get out to about a 0.3 of a second lead on the number 48 of Connor Trafari.
I'm still loving that dang paint job in the BCP car of Jeff Price. That black and red looking really sharp on that Chevrolet Camaro.
Yeah, absolutely is. As we're seeing Ryan Worley up here at the front, trying to battle with Jeff Price here. And for Price, he was one of the drivers that was very vocal after the race at Dover 2 weeks ago, saying he was not a fan of these new cars. As a matter of fact, I don't think he made it 5 laps at Dover, if I remember correctly. And Price doing a very good job, appears to have gotten used to the car a little bit more.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him about those comments if he winds up being one of the interviewers on the podium tonight. What does he think about the car now?
Yeah, it looks as though he's gotten a little bit more seat time in that number 14 in these next-gen cars, and appears to be enjoying himself a little bit more, as Greg McConey now has gotten around Javon Cherry and starting to work on Connor Trafari on that outside, looking for the 3rd position. So McConey really starting to scoot that number 12, and he is up into the 3rd position.
Yep, Marconi up to the 3rd position. Connor Trafari running 4th. Jovan Cherry 5th. Brandon Wilson in the 501 all over the back of Jovan Cherry, looking to get around him on the outside. He's got a run on him. It looks like he might get her done.
This is the deepest in the field that Cherry has been all race long. Started on the pole, did not relinquish the lead until, what was it? I think it was lap 53 was the first time that Cherry was not in the race lead, as both him and Cedric Hunter have a meeting with the outside wall coming out of turn 4.
You've got to wonder now about Jovan Cherry's strategy call to stay out on that last caution when everyone else came into pit. I was thinking, you know what, probably whatever the leader does, do the opposite. He stayed out and everyone else dived in behind him. But now we're getting into the section of this race where we're going to get long green flag runs. He is going to be way off cycle, but it'll be interesting to see where it settles down.
He'll be off cycle, but still, if you look at the lap times that are currently being run, Ryan Worley, who's out in the race lead, just ran a 31.52. Cherry just ran a 30.34. So Cherry, as a matter of fact, was the fastest car on the racetrack last lap in that number 20. So he's still making those tires work, as it appears as though these tires drop off significantly and then just kind of hover. It depends on how well you can manage that drop off.
Yeah, I'm just wondering now, how far is he going to be able to go on a tank of Go Fast? He was last in, Jovan Cherry we're talking about, last in on lap 22. So now he's out there working 41 laps on a tank of fuel. Probably got maybe, say another 15, 20 left in there, Frank?
That could be right around correct, as we're inside the century mark here with 97 laps to go here from Charlotte. As we look back up towards the front, Ryan Worley is still under moderate pressure from Jeff Price, but he'll be under some serious pressure when the 12 gets around the 14, which should not be too far off from now, as Greg McConey has certainly flown up to this group. McConey has had a lot of success in the Friday night series. However, when it comes to the Monday night series, it has not been all that much similar. He has won one race, and that was at the Super Speedway at Talladega, did the number 12. As the double zero and the 14 getting really wild going into turn 1. That's going to open the door for McConey. So Greg looking for his first win of the season that's not on a Super Speedway.
Yep. There goes, move Greg McConey up to the 2nd position, getting around Jeff Price, getting it done. Jeff Price just looked like he might have used a goodie off of those tires, washing up in the corner. Jeff Price trying to mount a comeback on him. I don't think he's going to have anything for him, as McConey sets his sights on Worley right now.
McConey right now, as we get into the final month of the Super Speedway Series, the Spring Super Speedway Series, McConey, 5 wins in that series, leads the championship as they head into the second round of the playoffs. And boy, just nicks the wall there. He's locked into the playoffs with the win at Talladega, but certainly has had a lot of good runs. Just has not been able to find victory lane in that number 12.
No, not in this series, because what we're talking about with the other series is all super speedways, different vehicles of super speedways. But this is the next gen car at all the different tracks. We go short track racing, we go road course racing, we go intermediate track racing, we go long track racing. So this being the first mile and a half that we're seeing this next gen car on, your thoughts on what you've seen so far 68 laps deep into this thing?
Certainly been a very good night. It's been a great night of racing. We've had a couple of little issues, but still, even watching, you can learn a lot from this race car, and this car is going to be a favorite on big racetracks that have some form of draft dependency as we continue to work on through this field. The battle for 6th place starting to heat up. Well, the battle for 5th, really. Cherry leading that line. Brandon Wilson, Dan Brazenton, Cedric Hunter, Bentley Glazer, all right here. This 5-car battle for the 5th spot. And Cherry's holding steady up there. He's lost about a second and a half to Connor Trafari in 4th, but still Cherry having a very good run in 5th.
Yeah, he's 3 seconds off of the leader right now, but he's still holding it out there, but he's going to have to bring it in a good, 20-some laps sooner than everybody else. I think maybe his call might, we got 90 laps to go in this thing. That's probably going to be, if he can leg it out for another, God, I don't think he can do it in one more stop.
No, most likely not. And a lot of these guys have 3 sets of tires left, and if it's not 3, it's a mixed set for some guys who took 2 tires earlier on, which there were a couple. Connor Trafari took 2. Bentley Glazer took 2 earlier on tonight. So those guys will have a mixed set. But Cherry, the only driver that has 4 full sets still left under that car in the number 20. That could put him at a very, very solid advantage as it comes down to later in this race, if there is a late race caution.
Don't look now, new leader, the number 12, Greg Marconi.
And we've been talking about McConey. He's been flying over these last couple laps, and now finally does take the lead from his teammate. And if you missed earlier on tonight, the number situation on that number 12, the number on the driver's side is for his grandfather on his father's side of the family, Fireman First Class Norman McConey, who passed away about 8 years ago. That was the number for the USS Wax Wing in World War II. That was the ship that Norman McConey served on. On the passenger side is the number 1160. That is for the USS Traverse County, which is the ship that his grandfather on his mother's side, Boiler Tender Petty Officer Second Class Rodney Bouchard, served on during World War II. And Rodney, we're hoping that Rodney is watching the race here tonight, seeing that number 12 in the race lead.
Taking a look back to the battle for 5th, Jovan Cherry has it. Cedric Hunter all over his rear tail wants it. We got a race.
Absolutely. Cedric Hunter, we've seen how quick, and not long ago, this was the battle for the race lead here between the 20 and the 13 at the beginning of this night. And now Hunter, with the tire advantage, is going to get around the 20 of Jovan Cherry. And again, the times between Cherry and Price, who now leads this race. Price ran a 30.69 last time around. Cherry ran a 30.75. It's really not that big a difference.
No, Joe, but you know what? This is Jovan Cherry we're talking about. How talented is this kid behind the wheel in one of these cars? he does know how to hold a pretty wheel. He does know how to keep the pace in that thing, and he does know how to keep a set of tires underneath him. We've seen it many times before, and we're seeing it again.
Yep, absolutely. Javon Cherry, winner. His first win of the season came back at Martinsville. He has since won at Kansas, Darlington, and then last week at Circuit of the Americas, which was not broadcast. So 4 wins on the trot for Javon Cherry, 3 in the last 4 races. Bentley Glazer, the winner at Dover, was the only one that has broken that streak after Javon was forced to start in park. But still up here at the front of this field, though, this battle getting really good as Price has been able to save those tires, been able to work himself out to about a 0.3 of a second lead over the 2 dudes racing drivers of McConey and Worley, who just had a huge loose snap coming out of turn 4.
Wow, Worley just going and mowing the grass. Well, no grass there anymore, but you saw that car bunny hop over the inside of that field there. Worley, awful lucky to keep it pointed forward and keep it in that 4th position.
Yep, absolutely. As Connor Trafari now is promoted up into the 3rd position, and Trafari was racing with these guys earlier on in this race, but he was a lap down after starting on pit lane. So Connor Trafari is having a very, very good night for himself. Started what would have been in the 13th position, up 10 spots from his would-be starting position after starting on pit lane.
Yeah, speaking of up spots, another driver up 10 spots. That's your race leader, Jeff Price, right now. He's got the 14 machine out in the fresh air, and he's starting to leg it out a little bit over Greg Marconi.
Yep, absolutely is. He's up to 0.4 of a second, the advantage over McConey. Connor Trafari, as these guys are starting to split up now a little bit. 2 guys that are not splitting up, however, is Brandon Wilson in the 501 and Bentley Glazer in the 16. Those guys starting to go at it. I believe Wilson just took over that number 7 position, or pardon me, is trying to defend that number 7 position away from Bentley Glazer. Is not that far behind them. Dan Brazington for FBR Motorsports here in that number 29. Battling with the 4 of Nick Kessler, who, if I didn't know any better, I would call that a 1997 All-Star race throwback to Dale Earnhardt's Wheaties car, but then again, it could just be a random number 4.
That I could not tell you. Get a little closer look at him.
It certainly looks like that Wheaties car, just with the normal JD Motorsports branding that we see on it.
Yeah, it certainly does.
This battle up here at the front continuing to stay tight as Price is now starting to lose ground back again on Greg McConey. McConey in that number 12 in the middle there. The 2nd position, Ryan Worley not that far behind him. Running in the 4th spot, and in the middle of those 2 is Connor Trafari.
Yep, we are just past halfway, folks. 83 down. We've got 77 left to go, and we're going to go ahead and take a quick little break, and we shall be right back. are back. Charlotte Motor Speedway working lap 85 at 160. And Frank, I got to tell you, man, it has been one heck of a race so far. But notice pit strategies playing out. Jovan Cherry, the number 20, top qualifier, just in for 4 tires and fuel.
And again, Jovan Cherry had only come in to stop on lap 22. So with the caution laps that these guys have run, Cherry able to go from lap 22 to lap 84. So we would expect roughly around lap 100 is when this next group of cars should be coming in. All the guys that stopped either on lap 42 or on lap 43, as Jeff Price, who went to the commercial break in the race lead, has now fallen back into the third position as McConey and Trafari were able to get around him for first and second positions.
Yeah, now this group last pitted lap, what did we say, lap 42, so they've got some more laps they can run before they're going to have to see it in. They can do it with one more stop. If they can get to, they can run 20 more laps. They can do this on one more stop. But Jovan Cherry's going to have to do it in 2 more, I believe.
We'll just take a quick peek at what is coming up for the remainder of the week here on the ESPN broadcasting platform. The UK Sim Racing's MX5 Pro Series will end their season at Phillip Island. Coming up tomorrow afternoon at 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time. So the MX5 Pro Series, which has had an absolutely fantastic season all year long, will end that first season here on ESPN from Phillip Island tomorrow afternoon at 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time. A doubleheader on Wednesday will be the Pony Express Sim Racing's Endurance for Amateur Series Round 9 at the Daytona Road Course as Connor Trafari takes the race lead away from, or at least is attempting to take the race lead away from Greg McConey. Then that race will start at 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Coming up on Wednesday night as well at 8:45 will be the Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series, their penultimate race of the season. They will be at the Milwaukee Mile. Depending upon how many drivers show up for that race, that could be a championship for Nate Siefker. And from what we have heard, it's rumored that Sim Racers Edge has at least verbally committed to coming back to ESPN for season 3. So we will be more than happy to have those guys back again for next season. Another series that we haven't seen in quite a bit, the USRA will be making its return coming up on Thursday night at, I believe, that is 7:50 p.m. Eastern Time. They are going from the Cup cars to the trucks. The TNT Truck Series presented by USRA is opening up its season at the Super Speedway at Daytona. That was something we did not see last year out of USRA. They did not have a Super Speedway race last season. They will have 2 this year for their 16-round season. The Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series will have the round of 8, race number 1 at Talladega. They will be in the ARCA cars this Friday night at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time. The E-Formula 3.5 Series will hold the Australian Grand Prix from Phillip Island. That will be at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then on Sunday will be the Medieval Racing League. They will hold, I believe, round... What would that be for them?
Oh, God.
I think that would be round...
And you're asking me?
I think that would be round 7 at Texas Motor Speedway for them after Trevor Massetti got his first win at Martinsville 2 weeks ago. So that is the remaining races this weekend. As this top 4 here, the entire spiel there is just rolling right along here. These guys all right on top of each other as it looks like Price has found a second wind on this set of tires.
Yeah, well, as we've been talking, we've seen lead change after lead change after lead change. Greg's passed Connor. Connor's passed Greg. Now we got Jeff passing Connor. Yeah, this group of four, throw a blanket over them. You got to go back a whole bunch more to Cedric Hunter, who's got Bentley Glazer right on his tail. And then you got to go back another 3 seconds before you find Brandon Wilson, who is battling with the 71, and Mark McFadden, who's laps down still.
Yep. So Cedric Hunter right now 1.2 seconds behind Jeff Price, who currently occupies that 4th position. Bentley Glazer running behind him. Brandon Wilson is the next car for position, 3.5 seconds behind Cedric Hunter, or pardon me, behind Bentley Glazer, as Dan Brazenton, Nick Kessler, John LeBombard, and Zashawn Dura round out the drivers that are on the lead lap. There is Javon Cherry, who again came into pit road on lap 84. He is a lap down.
Yeah, but he is picking them up and putting them down. Look at his lap times. His last lap, 30.01. He's 7 to 10, 8, 9 tenths faster per lap than everyone else on the field.
Absolutely, and you would expect that. He has been absolutely flying here tonight. Has Javon Cherry, was the leader of the race up until lap 53.
Back the hard way.
Yeah, he is, and that was Elijah Innes there that was on the apron, and here comes Cherry right around Greg McConey as he is about to bust through this top 4 and get that lap back, as we say, the old-fashioned way.
Now, he gets his lap back the old-fashioned way. He's 20 laps fresher on tires than these guys, or more than that. But he's way off sequence, so he needs to get out, get away from traffic and run for as hard as he can, as fast as he can, to get as much as he can as the pit cycles are going to cycle back around again.
Absolutely, and there he is getting that lap back. There is one more lap that Javon needs to get back in order to be back on the lead lap. So he got one of his 2 laps back the old-fashioned way, as Connor Trafari now leads this race. Trafari again finishing 2nd place. What was it? Let me see. Go back to the actual race results here. Finishing only a 2nd behind Javon at COTA last week.
Pit stops starting to happen now.
Yeah, they are. As that was Dan Brazenton, John LeBombard, both into pit road in the 95 and the 29. Brandon Wilson coming down into pit road in the 501 as well. So, yep, at about lap 100, just as I said, pit stops are starting. And look at how Cedric Hunter and Bentley Glazer have flown up to this group. They are now right here with the leaders.
Yeah, but they're going to have to be coming into pit with the leaders as, yep, everyone. Oh. Wow. Yep,
boy,
we got
everybody
on pit lane.
Yep, and that's the front end of Greg McConey's car completely gone. So that must have been contact between McConey and Trafari on pit road entry. I'm not seeing a front end on that number 12.
I am.
We'll try to, we'll see.
I see no front end. Well, wait a minute. There goes the smoke. No, the front end is off of McConey's car.
Let's see what happened to McConey there on that entry, trying to gain as much speed as he possibly can, and wow, he overcooked it and absolutely punted Connor Trafari into the pit wall. So that one right there, a misstep on McConey, trying to gain as much time and as much position as he can on pit entry.
Extended pit stop for the number 12 machine. Bentley Glazer's now pitting from the lead, and don't look now, but that's going to hand the effective race lead over to Javon Cherry.
Yep, not that far from now, that will hand the official race lead over to that number 20. But again, the 20 of Cherry will have just under 20 laps more on his tires than he has over the rest of the field. So Cherry, who will get the lead back here momentarily, is Bentley Glazer. is finishing up his pit stop. Now the 20 is in the race lead, and he has a healthy margin out to at least Cedric Hunter. It's a 13-second gap between the number 20 and the 13.
Oh, I'm looking
Bentley
at the
Glazer.
car. I'm looking at Greg Marconi's car going around the track, and that's a heartbreak for the number 12. No
Yep,
front
it is,
end, no
and
front bumper cover on that thing at all. He won't have a cooling issue, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, certainly. No, cooling will be the least of his problems on the track right now, and I'm sure Connor Trafari is not all that happy with him, and I'm sure the 14 of Jeff Price is not all that happy with him either at the present moment, as Price now looking to try to get around that number 12, and he's coming at quite a rate of knots difference, as a night that looked so promising for the 12 has gone up in smoke thanks to a very simple mistake, self-inflicted wound.
Okay, now we saw that we can get 60 laps out of a tank of Go Fast on this thing, and you saw Joe Moncherry pit at lap 84. Well, add 60 to that. That doesn't add up to 160.
Well, granted, there were a good amount of caution laps. There were about 10 caution laps in between, so everyone should have to come in at least one more time. And you're right, no, if Cherry can make it another 10 laps, which he definitely will, it will be everyone needs to come in just one more time in order to win, to make it to the end of this race.
Battle for third position on the track. Ryan Worley and Bentley Glazer, they are right on each other right now, as Bentley Glazer is all over the rear of Ryan Worley in the double zero.
Ryan Worley in on lap 102, Glazer in on lap 103, so a very negligible advantage for Bentley Glazer, as Cedric Hunter is not that far away from falling back into this group. Hunter came into pit on lap 101. He came in the first group with Connor Trafari.
Well, make that a three-way dance for the second position.
Absolutely. Is now Glazer trying to work his way back into a solid position here. Right now in the fourth position. And this is going to be the battle for the effective race lead. And with the way these pit stops are going to be cycling out here later on tonight, this could be a race win for Javon Cherry, even with that awkward strategy.
I don't know, because when pit cycles finished out, Jovan Cherry had a 13-second advantage on this group that's running right behind him. That advantage has been chopped down to 11 now.
11 and a half seconds, the difference between Cherry and Worley, as Worley now has gotten around Cedric Hunter. Hunter now falling into the clutches of Bentley Glazer. Connor Trafari about 3.5 to 4 seconds off of Bentley Glazer, and he is certainly not going to be a happy camper with how the pit stop cycled out. But it looks as though he's used that fast repair, so the 48 looks clean, not showing the effects of what happened coming into the pits there.
Yeah, 48, he's logging laps like crazy, doing everything he can to catch up with Bentley Glazer. Have to keep an eyeball on that delta as see if he shrinks it down or if it extends out. But that battle for second place is throw a blanket over these three cars of Worley, Hunter, and Glazer.
Yeah, absolutely. These three are right here. And again, just 2 laps between them as far as the pit cycle goes. As we're working lap 112 right now. These guys have closed in another second on Javon Cherry. Cherry's last lap was a 30.64. These guys are in the 30 flats, 31 range. So Cherry is definitely going to be caught by these guys before the next round of pit stops. It's just a matter of when these guys have to make it. And how big of a cushion does that give Cherry?
Well, it's all going to boil down to how far does Cherry want to run these tires that he's got, as Jeff Price is now bringing it pit side. Jeff Price bringing it pit
Price
side
is
the hard
around
way.
at pit road. I don't think that to me doesn't. I don't think he attempted to bring it. Oh no, he certainly did. Oh no, this is a different issue. Sorry, this is the last issue. Take a look and see what. No, he was trying to bring it into pit road.
Don't know
and
what happened
just
there.
missed it. Yeah, just lost it. So Price losing it. He might have been. His steering might have been stuck, or he was done for the night either way and knew it. That's the only thing I can think of right there is.
All right. Check your timing and scoring. Jovan Cherry puts another lap up on the board, but we've been talking about a plus 10-second advantage. What's it now? 8.5.
But not, yep, 9 seconds the gap, 8.9 seconds the gap, and rapidly closing. And it doesn't help that Jovan Cherry is now battling with Zishan Dura, who's trying to get a lap back. Dura now 1 lap down by making that pass on Cherry. And the top 3 now going through the dogleg. That's Dan Brazington battling with them. Brazington in a top 10 position right now, but just as Dura was, sits 2 laps down.
Yeah, strategy's going to come play out in this thing. I am wondering, how long is Jovan Cherry going to hold it out there? He last pitted in lap 84. So if he wants to split it, you figure what? Run 40 laps? He would want to bring it in right around lap 120 if he's going to split that run.
Yep, and we're on lap 117 right now, so we're getting close to that pit cycle. And if I'm looking at this right, I do believe that Jovan does have a spotter tonight. Brandon Lowe's currently spotting for Jovan. He absolutely does have Brandon spotting for him. So
now here's the interesting thing.
Working the strategy.
Here's the interesting thing. If they can make 60 laps on a tank of Go Fast under anger here without the cautions helping them out, that is going to put, by my calculations, Bentley Glazer in the driver's seat because he last pitted on lap 103. And then Ryan Worley pitted on 102, Cedric Hunter on 101, and then Nick Kessler on 100. I don't think Nick Kessler can do it. But I think Bentley Glazer might have a chance of stretching it out without having to stop.
You're going to need. I mean, it's coming down. I think they're all going to need to pit again. As I said before, Cherry was able to make it 60 laps because there were 2 cautions in between the time where he pitted and the time where he pitted under caution, and then the time where he had to pit under green. So Cherry was able to make it 60 with the aid of cautions. That doesn't appear as though that's going to be the case here, as everyone's pretty well spread out except for this top 3, as Cedric Hunter just gets passed by Bentley Glazer. It looks as though these guys are going to have to stop one more time. The gap between these guys and Cherry has now fallen to 7 seconds. Another gap to watch out for, Connor Trafari is now inside of 3 seconds away from the back end of Cedric Hunter at 2.9 seconds. So Trafari running by himself, starting to catch this trio in front of him.
Yeah, now this trio, they had to work the lap traffic of the 29 machine of Dan Brazington. And they finally got around him, and I think that's what has allowed Connor Trafari to close the gap a bit. But you know what? That gap's still shrinking.
It absolutely is, and Trafari certainly putting in his work to try to get back up and into a battle, at least for the podium positions, because if this pit cycle works out the way we think it's going to, this is going to hand Jovan a pretty nice lead yet again. He had a 13.5-second lead coming out of the last round of pit stops, and the advantage that those drivers had behind him is virtually gone. Cherry did a 30.64 last time by. If you look, we'll take Bentley Glazer, for example. Glazer did a 30.51. That's only a tenth of a second now between first and this second group here. So Cherry appears to be safe, at least for the moment.
Yeah, for the moment. But you know what? We can talk about strategies all we want. We can talk about what these guys are wanting to do all we want. But you know what? The great equalizer's lurking out there, and that's a caution.
Yep, absolutely. And Bentley Glazer right now has just taken over that second position. That's opened the door for Cedric Hunter to try to dive in under the 0-0 of Ryan Worley to take over third. All the while, Connor Trafari gaining time on this pair, and Bentley Glazer now starting to run away. He's already put a half a second on those guys in a lap.
Yeah, Bentley Glazer running away. Ryan Worley still slugging it out with Cedric Hunter. And don't look now, but Connor Trafari has got that gap down to 2 seconds minus now.
Yep, absolutely. 1.9 seconds, and that was a big chunk that he took out of those guys there. Took a full half a second out of Cedric Hunter and Ryan Worley on that last lap. Javon Cherry a 30.71 to Bentley Glazer's 36.1. Now Cherry at a 36.5 compared to Bentley Glazer's 35.1. So it's about a tenth and a half difference. Glazer slowly chopping at Javon Cherry's lead. Worley and Hunter battling amongst themselves now.
Yeah, Trafari able to just get it down. As long as that battle goes on between Worley and Hunter, Trafari's going to be able to track him down. He's doing it. It looks like he's gaining on him about a good tenth and a half a lap. Bentley Glazer locking it down about a tenth and a half a lap on Jovan Cherry. As the last lap, he was actually 0.2 faster.
And a very, very good battle here between the 13 and the 0-0. The 29 doing a very good job as well of staying out of this battle, letting these guys race. And from what we're hearing, Jeff Price has not been feeling well all day long. And after the incident on the pit entry with himself, Trafari, and Greg McConey, he has decided to pull it off, and that will be the end of the night. So deciding illness, now that I'm not racing for anything, let me just take care of myself.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? You need to take care of yourself. You need to, get well, get strong. And Jeff, we know we're going to see you next week, so hang in there, buddy, and start feeling better.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care of thyself as we're inching closer to 30 laps to go here. Javon Cherry currently holds a 6.2 second lead, but he is going to have to come into pit road here very, very soon. Cherry was off cycle from the rest of the field. He last came into pit on lap 84. Bentley Glazer, Cedric Hunter, and Ryan Worley, who are 6.5 seconds behind him, came in on lap 103, 101, and 102. So we're trying to see if these three, Glazer, Hunter, and Worley, can go the rest of the way, and what Cherry might force those drivers to do.
I'm thinking at this point, Cherry's, Zayshawn Dewara getting it all wrong, getting into the pits. Hope he didn't get a speeding penalty on that pit entry. Connor Trafari bringing her pit side. So the last money stops look like they're getting ready to happen now. Jovan Cherry holding it out there for as long as he is. I got a feeling that this is going to be a splash and go only just to get enough gas to get to the end.
I'm not too sure about that. We know Trafari was one of the guys that came in the 100 range. So Trafari coming in before even Cherry, that is a strategy call for him without a doubt. 4 tires and fuel, he's down and away. Is Trafari's. Deshaun Dura has not left the pits yet. As Cherry, his lead has now fallen to 5.5 seconds ahead. So it looks like Nick Kessler is bringing it in from the 5th position in the number 4. So Cherry is going to run this thing as long as he possibly can, so he doesn't have to sit in the box too long for fuel.
No, and Jovan Cherry probably going to maybe take 2 tires. Lord knows he has the tires. He's only been on pit road twice for this whole race. So just got to be wondering how long he's going to keep it out there and how much time he wants to give up to Bentley Glazier, because Bentley Glazier is just cutting into that lead a little bit by little bit every lap. 3/10 on that last lap.
Yep, Cherry just ran a 30.97. Glazier crossing the line right now runs a 30.65, so 0.3 of a second. The takeaway is now that lead for Cherry has dropped inside of 5 seconds. Hunter, Worley, and Glazier have pretty much sorted themselves out. Now, Worley is still very close to Cedric Hunter, but not necessarily within striking distance, as Hunter has a big wiggle coming out of turn 4 here as we're coming closer to 25 to go.
Yeah, that turned that not into striking distance, into striking distance with that wiggle. I just don't think that Worley has the tires left under the car to go ahead and take an advantage of it.
And that right there is Nick Kessler, who's blowing this group up. Kessler had just come off of pit road, took 4 tires and fuel, so he is by far and away going to be quicker. But right now, this is what we're expecting to be the race for the win here. These top 3, Bentley Glazier, Cedric Hunter, and Ryan Worley, as Dan Brazington brings the number 29 FBR Motorsports machine into pit road. As Cherry has fallen under 4.5 seconds now, he really has got to be thinking about coming into pit road soon. We know for a fact that he cannot make it after pitting on lap 84.
Yeah, 24 laps to go now, folks. I don't think he has 24 laps of go fast left in that tank. He's got to be thinking, what strategy do I want to do? Do I want to do a fuel only? Do I want to take 2 right side tires and some fuel? That is what I'm thinking he's probably going to want to do, but it takes time to put the right side tires on. He's probably just going to take just enough fuel to get to the end.
Bentley Glazier has had a moment through turns 1 and 2, went way high through turns 1 and 2. That allowed Cedric Hunter to get around him into the second position. So right now it is Hunter, Glazier, and Worley, and these guys once again are right on top of each other. Glazier now falling back behind Ryan Worley. This might be a strategy play here. Glazier, not wanting to get run over going into pit road, might have just fallen behind these guys to get ready for that pit stop.
Yeah, that could very well be. That's what I would want to do. If I was planning to bring it to pits, I'd want to be, not wanting to get run over. But then again, if I'm going to pit right behind 2 guys, if they come in right in front of me, I don't want to be the one to run them over either. Jason Papp bringing it pit side.
Yep, Jason Papp in, Elijah Innes still in, so he is done for today. Innes has been in pit road for 18 minutes at this point. He's been involved in a couple of incidents on track. Cherry now has gotten his lead back up over 5 seconds thanks to the battling in that second pack. So it's Ryan Worley now getting out in front of Cedric Hunter for the second position. So it's Worley, Hunter, and Glazier battling for what we're assuming here is effective race win.
Now that's what we're assuming. It's all going to boil down to what Jovan Cherry does in the pits, and do these guys have enough to make it? Jovan Cherry, pit side.
Jovan Cherry now hoping that these guys behind him come in as Cherry pits with 21 laps to go. Ran that tank as far as he could have possibly run it. Now this trio here that we've been watching battle for second is now battling for the race lead, and they have Jason Papp in between them. Papp is on fresh tires in that number 1. Could he possibly play rear gunner? Nope, he's going too quick. He gets around his teammate Ryan Worley on the outside. Second, third, and fourth cars in line battling for first, second, and third.
Jovan Cherry electing to take 4 tires and fuel, slid through his pit stall. Now it's all going to boil down to the fuel strategy of Worley, Hunter, and Glazier. How far did they get track position on Jovan Cherry, who is now actually effectively behind Connor Trafari.
Those guys all came into pit 16 to 18 laps after Cherry came into pit.
Now, Connor Trafari pitted last on lap 130. He's good to go.
Yep, Trafari is good to go, but he's not that far ahead of Javon, who came in 10 laps earlier. He's got pretty much the back stretch is the gap between. But getting back to what I was saying, those guys, the three here, came into pit 16 laps, 17 laps after Cherry. Cherry comes in with 21 to go. Those guys are going to need to pit again.
Yeah, if Jovan Cherry came in when he was dead out of fuel because of no caution laps to help him out, yes, most definitely, these guys are going to need to see pit road. But if Jovan Cherry was just tired of the bleeding, losing time every lap, and decided, I thought it was interesting, he went ahead and took a full set of 4 tires.
At that point, he was actually gaining time over the last couple of laps. So I would have to assume he came in at bingo fuel, as now Bentley Glazer starting to work his way back up through the field. He has gotten around Cedric Hunter, now sets his sights on Ryan Worley, who is the race leader in that 00. Brandon Wilson, 18 seconds behind. Wilson came into pit on lap 100. He has not come into pit again. Trafari right now, if these guys were to all come in, Trafari in 5th, who is catching up to these guys, about to get his lap back, would be the effective race leader or close to it.
Yeah, I'm showing Brandon Wilson last pitted on lap 100. He is in 4th right now. Oh, poor old Greg Marconi, man, that car looks rough.
Trafari splitting the middle between Hunter and Glazer. That gives Hunter the 2nd position, and now this might be key here because Trafari is now 1 lap down. These guys, if they do come in, are not going to be in pit road for long. It's about 43 seconds from cone to cone in pit road. Cut about 10 seconds off of the pit time. You're looking at only about 30 seconds. That's 1 lap around this place. Trafari might be in with a shout at a race win here now because he just made that pass.
Yeah, but I'm looking at the lap times as well. Jovan Cherry is pulling 4/10 a lap faster than Trafari is, judging by the last lap that I saw. So with 10 laps to go, yeah, he might be able to catch up to him. He's down under 3 seconds. Jovan Cherry behind Connor Trafari has only got a 2.7 second deficit. But can Ryan Worley, Cedric Hunter, and Bentley Glazer hang on to it? Do they have enough to go the last 12 laps?
This has been an absolutely incredible race to watch. It's going to be either Worley, Hunter, or Glazer if they don't need to pit. If they do need to pit, it's going to be either Trafari or Cherry. So 5 of these drivers in the top 6 have a legitimate chance at winning this race, as there is Jovan Cherry right at the tail of this top trio here. He's getting under Bentley Glazer. Now he's going to need to clear these guys as quickly as humanly possible as Hunter just gets out of his way. He really has to chase down that 48, and he has done a fantastic job of it if he wants a chance at winning this race.
Wow, Jovan Cherry just wrapped the bottom of that track with those fresh tires to get around Cedric Hunter, and now he just flies by Worley on the outside and sets sail for Connor Trafari. He's only got 1.7 second deficit to make up, and I think you're looking at the effective race lead between Cherry and Trafari, because I do believe that the 4 in front of them have gonna have to bring it pit side. I don't know. This is getting exciting. 10 laps to go.
10 to go, and right now the official race lead is behind Jovan Cherry at the moment. It's the 00 of Ryan Worley, 13 of Cedric Hunter, and the 16 of Bentley Glazer. If these guys can hang on for another 9 laps of fuel, Worley came in on 102, Hunter came in on 101, and Hunter and Worley collide. Hunter slides up, completely breaks Bentley Glazer's momentum. and that will give Ryan Worley about a 1/6 of a second advantage, which might be good enough.
It might be good enough, but does he have enough fuel? And what a save by Cedric Hunter to keep that thing pointed straight and not bring the caution out. If that would have brought a caution out, we could have just wadded up all of this strategy stuff, thrown it right out the window, and re-racked them, stacked them, packed them, and did it again. But Ryan Worley's off to the races right now. But don't look now. Jovan Cherry has really chopped that lead that Connor Trafari has on him down. We're going to have a battle for position for the 5th position as it stands now. 8 laps to go, but can Worley, Hunter, Glazer, and Wilson hang on with fuel?
Trafari starting to do the Indy snake down the back straightaway. The 13 and 16 have caught the 00 back up here. We've only got 7 laps to go, and there's still a major fuel concern between these 3 guys. And once again, that's Hunter in the middle in the 13, getting a little loose. Almost looked like deja vu going through turns 1 and 2. Glazer gets the run on the outside, rubs along the wall down the back straightaway. He will take over that 2nd position as Ryan Worley continues to lead this race, but can they make it 6 to go?
Yeah, in the meantime, Jovan Cherry has gotten around Connor Trafari and is starting to leg out a little bit of time. So now it's just going to boil down to, do they have 6 laps, 6 more circuits of this track left in their fuel tank? And I'm talking about Worley, Glazer, Hunter, and Wilson.
If these guys can get up here and make it the rest of the way, it's going to be between the 3 on your screen. If they have to pit, Jovan Cherry is going to be the race leader come the end of this race. Bentley Glazer around the outside, trying to get past Ryan Worley. 5 laps to go. Still working that outside line. We saw him get around Cedric Hunter that way just a moment ago, and now he gets back into the race lead around Ryan Worley. The 16 of Bentley Glazer to the race lead.
Now Bentley Glazer out in front, but here comes Worley wrapping the bottom of the track, trying to hang on. If these guys were in fuel-saving mode, you couldn't tell. Brandon Wilson into the pits. He doesn't have enough to make it, and he last pitted on lap 100, so don't know if these 3, now we're down to these 3 drivers right here. Can these 3 drivers make it 4 more laps, or are they going to run that tank dry? Because Jovan Cherry is lurking 24 seconds behind them, and they are not in fuel-saving mode whatsoever, the 3 from the front.
13 of Cedric Hunter now looking for the race lead. It looked like it was Worley's race to lose, and now it is Hunter trying to battle with Bentley Glazer for the race lead with 3 laps to go. Coming out of pit road right now is the 501 of Brandon Wilson. Wilson has a teammate in Ryan Worley up here battling for this race win. Hunter has cleared the 16 for the race lead. So Hunter, Glazer, Worley as we come to the line with 2 to go.
Popsicle sticks in the air, Sam Cooper Bennett would say, as these 3, do they have 2 more circuits of fuel left in their fuel tank? Oh my God, the anticipation, the excitement, I can't stand it.
Greg McConey has come into pit road.
Ryan
He
Worley
cannot make it.
He's fallen way off of the pace. I believe he's run out of fuel.
Yep, Ryan Worley off the pace and down on speed at least. He is out of fuel. It's a 2-horse race now between Cedric Hunter and Bentley Glazer. Did these 2 do a better job at fuel saving than Ryan Worley?
White flag is in the air.
Yep, Ryan Worley still currently sitting in that 3rd position, so he has probably backed it way down. He's out of fuel now, is the 00 of Ryan Worley. Coming down the back straightaway, here comes Cedric Hunter. Can he take his first victory in quite some time? Will the fuel tank hold on? It appears as though it will. Coming out of turn 4, Cedric Hunter wins round number 15 at Charlotte. Bentley Glazer runs out of fuel as he crosses the line. Ryan Worley is out of gas on the back straightaway. Jovan Cherry now will blow past him. Cherry will take over the 3rd position. Connor Trafari takes over 4th. But for Cedric Hunter, it is a big first win for him. First win since all the way back at the Bristol Dirt Race back on March 22nd, March 5th, March 29th, pardon me, for Hunter, his third win of the year.
Is Worley going to make it back to the start-finish line?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at now, Worley. And he's going to get a push from his teammate, Brandon Wilson. And that right there will put Worley across the line in 5th position. So Ryan Worley, with a little bit of help, takes home 5th, but Cedric Hunter, again, his first win since the Bristol Dirt Race back on the 29th of March, wins here at Charlotte. And I'm sure the King would be happy seeing that number 13 Dynaco car in victory lane.
Yeah, as Cedric Hunter has run it out of fuel during his burnouts. He is dead stick, as they say. Oh my God, what a race!
Absolutely fantastic results here tonight for the Rowdy Energy Cup Series. As we will get these guys in here to be interviewed in just a moment. Try to see who we can get. Try to see when we can get them here. Cedric Hunter should be here momentarily, and when he is, Byron will be with him. And Byron, I believe you have our race winner right now.
Cedric Hunter. Oh my God! Is there any way that you could have on fuel give us any more of a heart attack? I noticed you pit on lap 101, the last one. How in the heck did you make that thing go that far on fuel?
Oh, dang. I don't even know what to say. I only made it, honestly, because I was clutching it pretty much since I drove out of the pits. I wasn't paying attention to how much fuel you can actually, or how far you can actually go on fuel. So when it came out, I think with like 60-ish laps to go, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start saving just in case. And then with about 3 laps to go, it was just kind of do or die there. Like, hopefully I saved enough, which I just had enough to clutch around and then do 1 or 2 donuts. So that was intense. That was crazy. I'll definitely take it, though. This was my first time in the next gen cars. They're trickier to run than I thought they would have been, but they're a lot of fun. So awesome job, though, to everyone out here tonight. That was awesome.
Well, that was an amazing, show. You guys had one heck of a race going on between yourself, Bentley Glazer, and Worley running out of fuel. That was the heartbreak, man, because we were thinking Jovan Cherry was coming. If you guys would have run out of fuel on that last lap, his strategy was going to pay off. But oh my God, man, that was one heck of a show. Anyone you want to shout out to before we let you go celebrate victory lane, my friend?
Absolutely, I want to give you guys a huge shout out. I know you guys always put on a great show. Unfortunately, I haven't been around the last 3 or so weeks to race or to tune in and stuff like that. I've just been busy with work. So it's awesome to be back. I can't wait to go back and watch the broadcast tonight. I want to thank all the drivers out here. I want to thank the admins and everyone in charge. This league is really fun to race in. And I really do hope that my schedule clears up in the future. So it gives me an opportunity to come back. I want to thank my race team Category 5 esports. I want to thank all the fans out there for tuning in. And then that roots you guys on, as well as the league and all of us inside of it. So thank you to everyone. And hopefully I'll see you guys next week, I believe, at Sonoma.
All right, man. We're going road racing in Sonoma, everybody. That was your race winner, everyone. Cedric Hunter in the number 13 Dynaco machine tonight. Giving that shout out to Cars. Great race win, my friend.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
So that was your race winner, Cedric Hunter, and we will now bring in our second place finisher here tonight, Bentley Glazer. Bentley, how much fuel did you have left, and was it enough to possibly mount a charge at the very end?
I only had 0.3 gallons left, so I think maybe like one more lap or half a lap, I would have ran out. But when I was up front ahead of those guys and I was running real hard, like I felt like I've been able to hold them off or maybe break away. But if I would have kept pushing as hard as I was, I would run out of gas. So I had to drop back and hang out in the draft for a little bit, and then I just got tight following them guys.
Did coming into pit at any point, did that cross your mind going into that final stint as you're seeing the way that race played out? Was there really any thought of coming in, or was it we're going to stick with everyone here?
Just stick with everybody. I think we all knew it was going to be close, so we were kind of pedaling it for a while.
Going into next week at Sonoma, second road course in 3 weeks. What are your thoughts going into Sonoma?
That'll be interesting. I haven't done a road course race in these yet, so we'll have to see.
All right, anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Thanks to you guys, and thanks to the league for letting me run with them, and yeah, that's about it.
All right, so there's your second place finisher here tonight, Bentley Glazer. Bud, congratulations.
Thanks, and congrats to Cedric.
So that is your second place finisher here tonight, and Byron is with our third place finisher and pole sitter tonight, Siobhan Cherry.
Jovan Cherry, man, you want to talk about a strategy that had us scratching our heads, but then again, we didn't think those top three could last the fuel they did. Well, one of them didn't, but oh my God, that was an exciting finish. Tell me about your race coming in third place there.
Yeah, it was a fun race. You know, I didn't know when the caution came out earlier. I didn't know everybody was going to pit, and I certainly didn't think we were going to go green for the last 120 laps. So we kind of got screwed over there, but you know, we had a really good recovery to be able to come back like that and finish third. We were hoping the other two ran out, but unfortunately, it just didn't go the way that we wanted it to tonight.
Well, they ran out, but they ran out just as they crossed the start-finish line. Two out of those three in front of you did. Ryan Worley had the heartbreak of the night, coming home fifth, running out of fuel. But oh my gosh, man, you guys put on one heck of a show once again here at Charlotte. What's your thoughts on this next-gen car? How did that handle for you out there?
Yeah, it's a really nice car. A lot of downforce, so it's really easy to go through the corners. Really, the only thing is, you know, you want to be in the lead. You know, that clean air it's something different. You know, early in the race when I was leading out there, I try to pull down on the backstretch, make sure I break the draft. You know, stuff like that. But you know, it's a lot of fun. You just got to make sure you're the car out front there, trying to keep all those guys behind you, because when you're in traffic, you know, it pushing like it does. You know, that's no fun.
Right. Well, you did the job. You came home on the podium. Our next course, you know, that was the first mile and a half in this car. We're going back to a road course. Your thoughts going ahead into Sonoma?
These cars are a lot of fun to drive on road courses. Last week at Coda, I was able to get a win there on a road course. First time driving the next gen car on a road course. But you know, these things are a lot of fun there. I think Sonoma is going to be a lot more technical, or just as technical as Coda, but you know, I think it should produce a lot of good racing still. So I'm definitely looking forward there. Maybe we can win the next 2 out of 3, maybe back-to-back road courses. Who knows? But hopefully we can get that done.
Well, hopefully we'll see you up there at the front, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to you again next week. Anyone you want to shout out to before I let you go celebrate the podium finish?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Jason, Greg, all those guys that keep this league running. You know, they do a lot for this league to try to make sure it runs every week. So, you know, I really appreciate them. Appreciate you guys up in the booth for putting on an amazing broadcast. I'd like to thank Circle B Diecast, Rowdy Energy, iRacing, iFlag, Butt Kicker, Midwest Motor Customs, all those guys for sponsoring us. And also like to thank my crew chief, Brandon. He really tried to help me out there tonight, keeping me optimistic. Hopefully we can get back to the front, but it just didn't happen. But just want to thank everybody. And Cedric, good to see him back running tonight, too.
All right. Well, that's your third place finisher, everyone, Mr. Jovan Cherry. Looking forward to the road course. We'll see you there next week, my friend.
See you guys next week.
Frank, oh my God, what a finish. Your thoughts as we close out Charlotte Motor Speedway tonight?
No, this certainly was a very fun race for all to watch. And again, the first mile and a half that these guys were able to run in these cars, and it provided a lot of incredible action. By the way, We had mentioned at the top of the broadcast that there was a fan who had donated $15 in iRacing credits to the 8 drivers that ran at COTA last week. There was another driver that was going to be that was going to have $20 donated to them tonight in just a random position draw. The winner of that would be the number 10 of Zishan Dura. So in 2 weeks, Zishan Dura has gained $35 in iRacing credits. So congratulations to him on winning that $20 draw here tonight. But we'll go now through the results here for tonight's race. Cedric Hunter again picking up his first wins since the dirt race at Bristol about 2 months ago, a little bit less than 2 months ago. Bentley Glazer, Javon Cherry, you've heard from both of them rounding out the podium. Connor Trafari and Ryan Worley coming home in the top 5 positions. Nick Kessler, Brandon Wilson, Mark McFadden, Greg McConey, and Zishan Dura round out the top 10.
Daniel Brasington brings it home in the 11th. Jason Papp, 12th. Jeff Price, man, he's not feeling too well. We saw him have that incident going into pit road, and he said, you know what, I can't do it anymore. Get well, my friend. We'll see you next week at Sonoma. John LeBombard, 14th. Elijah Ennis and Scott Warren rounding out the field in 15th and 16th, respectively. Frank, I am impressed. This was one heck of a race with a lot of drama and excitement right down to the wire.
Yep, absolutely. And we're going to be seeing a lot more of that coming up next week when these cars hit round number 16 at Sonoma Raceway in wine country in Northern California. Coming up the rest of this week, though, on ESPN, tomorrow will be the UK Sim Racing's MX5 Pro Series season finale at Phillip Island. The first season of UK Sim Racing's MX5 Pro Series on ESPN will be coming to a close at Phillip Island, coming up tomorrow at 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time. On Wednesday, it will be a doubleheader. The Pony Express Sim Racing Endurance for Amateurs will run round number 9 of their season at Daytona International Speedway on the road course there. Plenty of great racing throughout the season. If you have not seen the E4A series, they have been absolutely incredible. The penultimate round of the Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series at the Milwaukee Mile will come up 20 minutes after that race starts. So the E4A series starts at 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time. The Alpha Series starts at 8:45. Coming up on Thursday will be the return of the USRA. The TNT Truck Series presented by United Sim Racing Association will have round number 1 at Daytona coming up at 7:50 p.m. Eastern Time this Thursday night. Then on Friday will be the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series. They will be in the ARCA cars at Talladega at 8:20 for the first race in the round of 8 for their playoffs and their season. The E-Formula 3.5 Series will also be at Phillip Island at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time this Saturday. And then on Sunday, to round out the week, will be the Medieval Racing League round number 7 from Texas Motor Speedway. So 7 races in the next 6 days here on ESPN. It is going to be a very busy week. So for my broadcast partner, Byron Rodney, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening, and we will see you all tomorrow for the MX5 Pro Series presented by UK Sim Racing. Have a fantastic evening, everybody.